Was that me?
No, it was Andy.
Hold on, we have time, don't we?
No.
It's 5:59. Okay,
So
it's 6 o'clock.
let that go until.
Like how you communicate with the guy?
Yeah.
Phone, email, in person, whatever turns you on. It's communicating kind of.
Madam Mayor, it's 6 o'clock.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this Tuesday, October 17th, City Commission meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mayor Pam Triolo,
Here.
Vice Mayor Scott Maxwell,
Here.
Commissioner Omari Hardy,
Here.
Commissioner Andy Amoroso,
Here.
Commissioner Herman Robinson.
Here.
Thank you.
If everyone would please rise. An invocation, a moment of silence is being offered on behalf of Commissioner Amoroso.
And tonight we want to remember the victims in Puerto Rico, the wildfires in California, our friends in Key West. So a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Vice Mayor, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
It's a nice pirouette.
Your tie matches Herman. It's the Red Sox.
Okay, additions, deletions, reordering. City Clerk, do we have any?
No, Madam Mayor.
City Commissioners, do you have any?
No, ma'am.
Seeing there are none, we shall move on to the presentation of item 5A, proclamation declaring October 23rd through the 29th as Florida City Government Week. Do we have anybody here?
No, I can receive it.
Do you want to receive it?
I'm the only government nerd around.
To everyone out there watching, this is for you. Whereas city government is the government closest to most citizens and the one with the most direct daily impact upon its residents. And whereas city government is administered for and by its citizens and is dependent upon public commitment to and understanding of its many responsibilities. And whereas municipal government provides services and programs that enhance the quality of life for residents, making their city their home. And whereas city government officials and employees share the responsibility to pass along their understanding of public services and their benefits. And whereas Florida City Government Week offers an important opportunity for elected officials and city staff to spread the word to all citizens of Florida that they can shape and influence this branch of government. And whereas the Florida League of Cities and its member cities have joined together to teach citizens about municipal government through different projects and information. Now, therefore, I, Pam Triolo, Mayor of the City of Lake Worth, Florida, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim October 23rd through the 29th, 2017 as Florida City Government Week.
Yeah.
And I always hug everybody. So
I will thank the Academy.
Okay, we have next our proclamation for the anniversary of the Baha'i community in Lake Worth. Come on up. Please join me. Here, come right around here so they get it. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a proclamation celebrating the 20th year of the Baha'i community in Lake Worth. Whereas the Baha'i community was established in Lake Worth, Florida in 1997. And whereas a crying need of humanity is the achievement of unity, peace, and justice in our communities. Whereas in the 19th century, Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith, brought a message of human dignity, capacity, and oneness suited to the requirements of contemporary life. And October 22nd, 2017 marks the 200th anniversary of the birth of Baha'u'llah. And whereas since 1997, the Baha'i community of Lake Worth, Florida has striven to apply this vision to the material and spiritual life of Lake Worth, collaborating with others to promote unity and to serve their fellow citizens. And whereas the Baha'is of Lake Worth and their families, friends, neighbors, and colleagues are commemorating this bicentenary along with the Baha'is across the United States and around the world. Now, therefore, I, Pam Triolo, Mayor of the City of Lake Worth, Florida, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby recognize October 22nd, 2017 as a celebration of the anniversary of the Baha'i community right here in Lake Worth.
Okay, everybody close your eyes on 3.
Do you want to have a few words? Anyone like to speak?
Ted's not bashful.
Yeah, most of you know me. I wear a lot of hats in the community, but being a Baha'i is really a remarkable thing, because from that, all of the other work that we do in the community with interfaith work, with Earth Day, with service through Kiwanis, everything else really springs from me, from that spiritual center. I consider myself a Jewish Christian Baha'i, which is confusing to a lot of people. But all of these spiritual traditions have value. They lend a lot to our community and to my personal spiritual life and my family. And Lake Worth has been so supportive of our efforts, and we've had a chance to collaborate with each and every one of you on the dais on different projects to be of service to the community. And to the Baha'is, service is worship. It's a form of worship of our fellow man and building up our community. So we want to thank the city for their recognition of both the Baha'i community and the bicentenary, and we look forward to many future collaborations for the benefit of all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'd also like to say that we handed out some folders, and there are invitations to different events that are going on for the anniversary. And one of them last weekend, we had one of our events here in Lake Worth. We did a rock painting party at Sunset Ridge Park, and it was wonderful. And that builds on the next event, which is this Sunday at Gray Mockingbird Garden at 10 a.m. We're taking some of those rocks. I mean, people painted more than one rock, and they took one. What's that? What was on the rocks? They painted virtues, so like love, peace, harmony, and different virtues. And some of those rocks we kept, and we're going to take them to the Mockingbird Garden, and we're going to hide them. And then some people are going to come to that event. They're going to find them. So kind of like a scavenger thing for there. But also we're going to have a celebration there on Sunday at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And we would like to invite everyone or anyone that can make it there. We're going to read the proclamation there. Hopefully if one of you or two of you can make it, we'll ask you to read it. As well as we're going to have music and fun. And we're also donating a tree. So we're going to have a tree planting for the Gray Mockingbird Garden. And then the following, that's all this is in there in the book. The following Thursday after that, we're going to show a film at the public library. So if you can make it to that, we'd love to see you there. And this Saturday night, there's a big county event for Baha'is at the Embassy Suites Hotel, and it's at 6:30, I believe. That there's an invitation in there, so everyone's welcome. It's free. You're welcome to come to that as well. And we just want to say thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys, ladies and gentlemen. All right, up next, a South Palm Park Neighborhood Association update. Come on down. I feel embarrassed. I don't have a proclamation for you.
That's okay. Normally, before I stand in front of a board like this, I'm being questioned for things. So this is pretty nice for me. Good evening, all. I'm Cheryl Rashkin. I am the current president of the South Palm Park Neighborhood Association. Back when I first joined, it was called the Homeowners Association. In fact, we were established in 1963. So we've been around a couple years, and we keep growing and growing. The neighborhood is pretty filled. We have over 220 homes within our small little area, which the boundaries are from 5th Avenue South to 18th Avenue South, from the alleyway just east of Federal Highway, all the way to the Intercoastal. Most of the homes currently are filled with families, which is nice to see again because there haven't been a lot of families with younger children in our neighborhood for a while. It was mainly a lot of retirees like me and snowbirds. We still have a lot of those, but we have a lot more families on board. So that makes it very interesting for us. We have new events that we're coming forward and doing throughout the community. Also, a lot of our neighbors throughout our section are part of the neighborhood community action groups and also on city boards. So we all stay fairly active within the city because we want to see Lake Worth stay great and become greater. So we want to thank you for that and continue with the positive work that you're putting forward for us. We've also been doing some REAP grants, which are grants to revitalize our neighborhoods. And these are put forward and we sit forward and get approved through the Board of County Commissioners from Palm Beach. Well, we just found out this past Tuesday that we were once again awarded a new grant that we will continually work with the city to establish. And this will enhance our neighborhood park, which is South Palm Park. It's a small little community park. It's called the Passive Park. We have lots of trees and gardens and picnic tables, but they're kind of getting old and falling apart. So the grant this year is to enhance it by getting some concrete gaming tables. You know, those little round gaming tables that have the things you can play checkers on, or chess, or backgammon, with 4 little stools to go around them so that a lot of people can participate. I think one of them, Richard will correct me if I'm wrong, is also going to be for dominoes. So, you know, that'll be another interest within the community park that we have that is filled on a regular basis from sunup to sundown. Sometimes after that, but not too often unless the puppies are with them. So we are a pet-friendly neighborhood. So one of the other portions of the grant is to place seating benches in 3 different locations in our median, so that persons walking their pets, if they've come across a neighbor they haven't seen for a little bit, or they feel a little bit tired, they can sit down and relax, and they can sit there and kibitz back and forth. So that's a nice addition to our neighborhood as well. We have plenty of activities that we do throughout the year that involve not only our neighbors, but those from around the community, especially the upcoming Halloween event coming up. We have one of our neighbors that has a spectacular haunted house. So make sure that if you know the kids throughout the city and they all come to our neighborhood, please take them to the haunted house. Mayor, I know that Commissioner Amoroso has been there, and I think that Vice Mayor Maxwell has been there, but the rest of you need to attend as well. Herman, we want to see you, okay?
I'm scared.
Hey, as long as you make it quickly through the spiders,
Okay.
that you're fine. But it's a lot of fun. The next thing coming up is in November when we have our median lighting. All of the neighbors get together and we string holiday lights in the median. So it goes from Fifth Avenue to 18th with all sorts of different Christmas decorations and lights. So it's really great, and I know everybody enjoys it. So we also have a judge coming forward. So we don't know who the judge is going to be this year, but we probably have a guess. Don't we? Okay. We'll let you off the hook this time, Harmon, but we'll get you later. But pretty much that's it for South Palm Park. We stay active. We enjoy our life in the community, and we enjoy all of our new neighbors. Any questions?
How did your median fare in the storm? The day after I came through and I saw a lot of damage, and the first thing that popped into my head, I'm like, I'm surprised they're not out here fixing it already, because you usually don't let that last too long, but is it coming back?
It's coming back. We had some damage to some trees that were erroneously planted quite a few years back with one of our neighbors, God rest her soul. But she had a love for this one tree. Unfortunately, it's not a good native for Florida. So two of them that were planted in the medians, one in the central portion and one towards the south end, they sort of came down.
Yeah, I saw a couple bigger ones,
Yeah,
so that's probably what you're talking about.
I am, and it was like very sad to see, but as I told one of the neighbors when he sent it through, I said, well, that's one less tree for you to try and fall out of. So he enjoyed that portion. But other than that, the foliage is coming back. The staff that's doing the care of the median, gangbusters, they were out there on top of it, cleaning it up and picking it up. So that was a plus to us. And for a personal mention, I would like to say thank you for the additional power teams that came in to help get us reestablished with power. They were spectacular. They spoke to us. They were pleasant. They didn't want to stop to do any, munching or whatever, but, all the neighbors were out handing them water and snacks so to keep them going and keep them hydrated. But we want to say thank you again because, granted it's a difficult time to go without power. Luckily, we were very lucky as opposed to some of our neighbors to the south that it took them another week and a half to get power. So thank you for that. And also for a lot of the rapid cleanup you've done. We still got a bunch of stuff out there with the bulk things going on, but we know you'll keep going forward as I keep speaking to the city staff routinely. So, but they've been great, so thank you.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Commission liaison reports and comments. Commissioner Hardy, you want to give us a start?
I don't have much. Actually, I don't have anything for the well, I will say this. There's development, a proposed development in my neighborhood in Tropical Ridge Park, in Tropical Ridge neighborhood. And I was sad to see that we could not get a real decision either way from planning and zoning. It was one of those 3-3 votes, and it's final, but I certainly would like to see more people come into the city. So that's what I have there.
Vice Mayor?
I don't have much. I do want to comment that I'm really excited to see some road work, some street work beginning around town. And I did want to comment though, South 12th Avenue South. I'm really glad that we're getting underway there, but it's a proverbial dust bowl. So I don't know what that watering truck was doing there all day other than just idling, I'm wondering, but it's been nothing but dust down there on 12th Avenue South. But I'm sure if you'll pass that note along. I mean, it's really a tough situation there. In fact, somebody called me about it earlier today. They were concerned about that. Also, I would like to commend the staff. There was a mention of the trash being picked up. I think we're a little, in my opinion, I think we're ahead of schedule as far as trash and debris pickup around the city. So for that, I'm very, very thankful. And again, I cannot say enough kind things gracious things about the work of the staff and the administration through this event and in the aftermath. Everybody's been very professional and have executed very well, and I'm very, very proud to be part of that team. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Robinson?
I was at the NAPC meeting on Saturday, and it's great to see all the neighborhoods cooperating and working towards the Taste of Lake Worth on Street Painting Festival, which is a show of cooperation with the city. They were generally pleased with the function of all the departments during the storm. Banners are always an issue, even when it's not storming. I went to South Palm Park, or I was there, and they were concerned about historic preservation, which I don't blame them. But we, as a matter of fact, are waiting to have that made better in November. Great to be in Lake Worth at Parrot Cove. Our city manager was doing a great job at mentioning all the investments we're making, and it obviously makes Lake Worth a great place to invest in. The RFQ choice was a step forward in correcting the casino property. I look forward to citizen input on that. The internal auditor is on the agenda tonight, and that's another, I think, positive for Lake Worth. The bookstore at 801 Lake Avenue was a fantastic opening. I was at the homeless fundraiser Monday night, and a North Grade garden planting on Saturday. I do want to mention the concern for the letter that went out to the merchants on H and G Street and East Coast. We have a grant or a request for funding for a study on parking, but I just have to think that it's a little premature to come down on parking without even a meeting or some sort of a input from the merchants before we start a hard program. That's it. I'm just really enthused with the team that Mike has and the future that Lake Worth is getting to be a real good investment.
Thank you. Commissioner Amoroso?
Okay, a lot going on. I was happy to attend the mayor's literary luncheon on behalf of the mayor. She, were you out of town or you had a prior? Oh, you had MPO or something going on. So I was very happy. We'll be again reading for the record this year. The city always tries to win, but unfortunately Lantana or Boynton usually beat us out. They have a lot more schools.
They have more schools.
So it's not because we don't read, it's because they have more schools. I was happy to cut the ribbon at the new book store downtown. Great people, and I look forward to their expansion into coffee. Healthier Lake Worth. I attended NeighborWorks conference for the last 6 years since I was elected. There's been a group of us attending the NeighborWorks program. Every year we bring back a $2,000 grant. So for the last 6 years, we've brought back $12,000 to the city of Lake Worth. 2 years ago, we were one of the 5 cities that were picked for $1 million grant under the Healthier Lake Worth program. And for the last 2 years, we've been doing grassroots initiatives in the city, in and around different specialty groups, bringing everyone together under one umbrella. We have now hired an executive director, so you'll see a lot more from Healthier Lake Worth. The theme, the grassroots theme that was picked was behavioral health. which encompasses a lot of different things in the city of Lake Worth. So I'm looking forward to how that grows under the board's initiatives and what that can do to move the city forward. Veterans Day is coming up. Again, if you remember, over 6 years ago now, when we got elected, we brought back the Veterans Day Parade. So please, we encourage you to come out and support the parade, whether you're in it or you invite all your friends and relatives out to watch it. And then there's a program at the plaza after that. That's November 11th. Day of the Dead. If you didn't attend the Day of the Dead, the CRA's event on the west side of the community at Hatch, this year will be bigger and better. If you didn't attend, what happens is almost like an art opening with altars. So there'll be 10 different altars from 10 different countries and people. Last year I did an altar to remember the Pulse victims of the nightclub. This year I will be doing a altar and it will be called Lake Worth Friends Remembered. So it will be people that we've lost in the city. So if you have any pictures or anything that might remind you of someone that has been lost in the city of Lake Worth, get them to me. If they're special to you, we will take good care of them, but we would like to incorporate them into the altar. And or you can bring something that night to leave on the altar. And that will start with an opening as an art exhibit, and it will stay up for a period of time. And then the Day of the Dead event will be a few days after that with a procession. There will be face painters, there will be dancers and musicians from the different countries. Just a great event. We're working on Little Scream right now, which is our Halloween event downtown. It'll be in conjunction with Evening on the Avenue that Friday before Halloween. It'll be trick-or-treating on the avenue for the kids in a safe, nice environment. And then we'll have the Little Scream in the plaza. We will start with a Halloween costume contest for the kids. The DCA, the Downtown Association, will be giving out gifts, cash prizes, all different kinds of things. And then Paws on the Avenue will be doing something for the pets with a costume contest. And then after that, we'll be showing a movie. And it'll be Transylvania 2. So it'll be a fun family night. Bring your blankets, come down, watch the movie. Also along that lines, Evening on the Avenue is every Friday. We've just started up our season. In February, we'll be doing all black bands for Black History Month. So that's a fun thing. So it'll be jazzy and a couple different twists. And then John Rice Way downtown, which is the little alley next to Downtown Pizza. We also got another grant through the CRA. That's a CRA Lula project. And it's going to be like a little vignette that you would see in a little Italian village. How you walk down the street and you turn and there's a little vignette. They've already started. Piazza, there you go. They've already started as local artists creating that sitting area, that space. It'll have some artwork. It'll have nice plants that grow up over an arch with lighting, sitting area. So it'll just be a nice little extension to our downtown. And I think that's all I've got.
Oh, please go on. No.
I know how you like me rattling on.
Okay, just a couple of things. I would tend to agree, just want to say one political thing while I'm up here, with Commissioner Robinson's remarks in reference to the notification of the businesses on HG, et cetera. I think that's a conversation that we should probably have here from the dais to give our direction, at least for that, if that's appropriate. But I would like to at least have us be able to discuss that, because I think it's, I think certain parts of it are good, certain parts of it may not be as good, and I think that we should definitely have community input on that, because these are businesses that are affected, and as a small business owner, I want to speak out on their behalf. But I also know that there's some issues with public safety as well, so that's a conversation I think should be vetted in front of the public as an agenda item, my personal opinion on that. I also met this week to discuss the cultural plan for the city, is the arts in the city and its involvement and what it's going to do and how it's going to help. Commissioner Robinson was there. It was a notice meeting, and we got a chance to hear some of the plans and from some folks that came into town and have been basically living here off and on, coming back and forth for the last year, finding out how to best utilize the arts to help us as an economic development tool, but also as enjoyment for the local community and an incentive for the local community. Also related to arts, I was very, very proud this morning to be at a press conference at the Cultural Council, and we announced the arrival of Canvas. Now, if you are not familiar with this project, it's the Canvas Outdoor Museum Show. Is that the official? Canvas Outdoor Museum Show. And this is an organization from Miami. You might know them from Art Basel and some other things. They do murals and large-scale artworks in the Miami area. They have or had an agreement with West Palm Beach, and they were doing a lot of projects throughout West Palm Beach. Well, they have expanded to Lake Worth. And what they say is probably going to be one of their most successful and most exciting seasons ever. They have international artists from around the world that are going to be creating these large-scale art pieces and murals and really encourage people. What's really interesting about it is they actually have an app for it. People come from all over the world. These artists that they have are extremely famous and they're world-renowned, and they have an app that people can come in to tour these works of these artists, and they have to be there. The murals and the artwork will be here for a minimum of a year, I believe, is the agreement that we have with them, and or could be longer, I guess, if we.
A lot of the other ones are permanent.
The other ones could be permanent, but they come here, and what they'll do is somebody that comes in, a group comes in that follows these artists, they take the tour, and it could be from the traffic circle to the beach of the different types of work, and they have you ever been to a tour somewhere at a historic home and you have that recording device that you listen to on the earpiece, or you go with a guide? You'll be able to have a guided tour through all these pieces, what the artists were thinking when they created them and whatnot. It's going to be very exciting, and I'm very happy for us. For those of you who don't know about it, it's interesting, right? And sure, that's great. For other people who do follow in the art world, it's a major coup that it's come here to Lake Worth. So I'm very happy to the CRA and to the Cultural Council and to city staff that helped facilitate that.
When is that going to happen?
That is going to happen. Oh gosh,
The November 20th it starts. 26th. Yeah, the end of November through the beginning of December.
I thought I had some time to get that information. Coming soon to a downtown near you. MPO this Thursday. They're going to approve. It'll be up for the budget. We've got a couple of projects in that final work. By 10th Avenue North and west of just east of 95, and a couple of other little things in there. So we'll be talking about that. I'll give you a wrap up of that afterwards. I just had the Mayor's Education Council right before the city meeting. This is our first of the new school year, and we had great attendance and a great show up. We had some interesting people that came out from different organizations that have really created some exciting new programs for both our elementary schools, our middle schools, and even at our high schools. We asked to kind of come back next meeting to create an agenda, but the two things that came back from every aspect of school, from the youngest to the oldest, were reading levels, once again, and attendance. And of course, with many things going on in the world today and things happening, attendance is really being challenged. So there's some programs, some grassroots programs. We're not going to try to take this on from the 50,000 foot view. We're going to try to go in the old-fashioned way and start to put together some groups and family groups to reach out to families, kids, and organizations. And Erica Whitfield from the school board was there and has a couple of items. In fact, she's going to bring in a speaker next month. We're going to try to meet every month until the new year to get these programs, these local programs, launched for what we can. We'll be looking for the resources to do so. And we have some outside agencies, YMCA, who, remember I was talking about them in reference to, in the years past, creating some VPK programs and after-school programs for middle schoolers. They're sitting down at the table again with us this year, which is terrific. We had lost our liaison to them in the past when we had been making some headway. So I'm looking forward to an exciting new year focused on our kids and our schools, and I'll be able to report back on that. And I think that'll do it for that. Veterans Parade is on Veterans Day, which happens to be on a Saturday this year. So I know it's been hard in the past because we're one of the only communities, because other cities do it on the weekends leading up or after. We're actually on the day. So I'm just very excited for you, coming from a family of veterans, how important it is to us, and to go on out and show our support. We have a lot of veterans living in our community, and they really appreciate when you guys come out and support, and bring your kids too, and really enjoy it. Thank you so much. All right, public participation of non-agenda items and consent agenda items. Just remember, I'm going to be getting a little sticky on here. When you guys come up to the thing for this, I'm usually pretty loosey-goosey, but I've been asked if I would please reiterate that you need to say your name and your address. regardless of whether you live here or you don't, or you live in another community. If you would please state your name and your address. First up, Katie McGivern, followed by Claire Miller.
Hi, good evening. Katie McGivern, 2121 Collier Avenue. I live in the Rollo area west of I-95. I would like my tax dollars to stay in my city. I don't want 1 cent of my tax dollar donated to anyone. Puppies, kittens, orphans, nope. I want every cent of my tax money to stay in Lake Worth. We're not a rich city. The idea that we can give away chunks of money is amazing to me. Potholes. If Jamie Brown is listening, there's a pothole behind Barton Elementary that's roughly the size of Lake Okeechobee. I'm not kidding. It could be deadly to a motorcycle rider or even a car. It's bad. The potholes around my neighborhood are horrid. We in Rollo have our own living art project. It's called the Smith Property, and it's an homage to hurricane damage. Go to the end of Sunset and you can look in the Smith Property, and I think it should be named The Disaster. This has been in a never-ending mediation. It looks like crap. They're never coded, apparently. I know if my property looked like that, I would have been coded years ago. So come on down, have a gander at the Smith Property. I was kindly appointed to the Road Bond Oversight Board by Commissioner Maxwell. Unfortunately, to my knowledge, I have not met yet. Several times I've talked to Sylvania. I've tried to get information when we're gonna meet, and nobody ever talks to me, so I don't know. I guess, who knows? As for the Canvas Art Show, it sounds wonderful, but I hope you're not going to have the artist that did the grape ape and the pink butt on the side of the Armory Art. I hope they're not invited. So thanks. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Claire Miller, followed by Lynn Anderson. Welcome.
Hello. I'm Claire Miller, and I just lost my place. I live at 211 South J. Speaking on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Palm Beach County, we're excited to let the residents of Lake Worth know that on November 1st, 2017, we will be initiating a solar cooperative for the county. The idea of solar cooperatives is being successfully sponsored throughout Florida by the League of Women Voters. By forming a cooperative, homeowners will be able to take advantage of discount packages for panels and installation. Cooperative members will be making decisions on which company bids they will select. And we view this program as an important step in making Florida the Sunshine State. If anybody is interested in more information, I'll take email addresses and we can clue everybody in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn Anderson, followed by Peggy Fisher.
Good evening, Lynn Anderson, 2204 Lake Osborne Drive. I just wanted to make you all aware that this was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Usually, in the past, other than the last 2 years, you know, you've had a proclamation for this. And somehow it fell through the cracks, and I don't know why. This is really an important issue. And right now, this disease, on average, every 2 minutes, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer. And one woman will die every 13 minutes. So we have people right here in our own community. I'm sure all of you know some. I do. I have 2 friends right now that are battling cancer. You know, one has had breast cancer come back, and it's really horrible to see them and what they're going through right now. 1 in 8 women in the U.S. will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. So please, you know, if you can get a proclamation like next year, and let's just keep this going and keep people aware of this insidious disease, I'd appreciate it a lot. Also, regarding the $25,000 to Puerto Rico, I agree with Ms. McGivern. Let's keep our money right here in Lake Worth. We have a lot of poor people here and a lot of issues where that money could be spent. The federal government is spending billions of dollars right now on the hurricane issue. Our $25,000 is needed much more here at home. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Peggy Fisher, followed by Tammy Panza.
Peggy Fisher, 508 North 8th Street. I know how slow government procurement goes, so I have a present. And if I may, Mayor, I have a present for most of you.
You made it through security.
Is it live?
But it lights up.
Yay! Yay!
I didn't get you one because you have the gavel.
Does this put Debbie off the hook?
Well, I know how long.
That's when you want to speak, you press the button.
Yes,
It's low tech.
when you don't, you take it off. I think everybody can.
It's brilliant.
One for you.
I don't get to speak.
And if you need one for the city clerk and the mayor, I will be glad to get you those. They can be attached.
Thank you.
So there's the instructions. Hopefully that will relieve having to raise your finger, hold your pencil, and you can get called on because the mayor will know who wants to speak by touching your light. Thank you.
That's funny.
Thank you, Peggy.
So what else do you like this?
Brilliant.
I want to speak.
Step into the light.
Tammy Panza, followed by Joseph Torres.
That's really cool. Tammy Panza, 160 North L Street. I wanted to talk a little bit about downtown parking. I've been trying to find information out about when 2nd Avenue South and South J are going to get worked on because they're pretty much the worst roads in town, and we're supposed to be working on those worst roads first. I know it was budgeted last year, and I know that we're working on some of the new roads before we hit those roads. So in doing that, I found a little bit of information about some of the work, and I believe I've seen some plans for 2nd Avenue North and, I'm sorry, 2nd Avenue South, and it appears like there's two options for maybe doing one with a bike lane and no parking, and then another one with two-way traffic and no parking. And parking is a really big issue downtown. And I know at every meeting that I attended on that subject, we all talked about the need for parking. And I'm not sure if we have community input for a reason or if it's just there so we can sound off. But we do need parking on that street. I don't know, maybe I read the plans wrong, but I would like parking and not just a bike lane. There's plenty of places for people to ride bikes downtown amongst all the streets. So please reiterate the need that whatever plan you choose for that street, we need to have parking. There's a lot of alleys on both the Lucerne and the Lake Avenue alleys that the 100 blocks on both sides of town use. And I've been noticing lately that we've been finding people parked in the alleys where you can't use it as a right of way. Particularly the people that live on those 100 blocks use that as an egress. When we have a city event, we can't use Lake or Lucerne. So I want the alleys open. I don't want to give up right of ways to new construction. Right now we have the alley behind the post office, and I pretty much drive over someone's toes every time I drive out of my alley in the morning to go to work. It's getting that tight. I've heard about a request from a developer who's going to develop over on A Street where they're counting parking spots on the street and not the property and asking for a lower, basically less cars per unit to be allowed. I know that was declined, and thank you very much for that. But I've seen it happen in a number of other towns where they ask, hey, we only have 1.5 cars for this 3-bedroom apartment, and can we get away with that? No, we need places to park, and we shouldn't be counting street parking for a development. Each development should have its own parking. So just asking about that. Changing subjects, I'm a member of the Lake Worth Advocate Group, and we've been trying really, really hard to organize and gather data and we've been having a little bit of problems figuring out what happens to the people after we attend first appearance. And I've been told we may have to pay for some of the information as far as the resolution of the cases. So I'd like to ask for your assistance in maybe gathering that data. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph Torres?
Hi, I'm Joseph Torres. I live at 512 North H Street. Hello, everyone. I want to first, I don't know if anyone has actually thanked the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office for their tremendous work during Irma. I am in one of the worst areas, 5th and H Street, which is right there at 5th and Dixie, where the Sunoco is at, where all the traffic is at and so forth. But they came through, when I say it was every minute, and I'm grateful because, you know, you can peek, they just kept flashing lights down every house. And I cannot stress to you, and I want to say with all my heart, thank you, sir. Thank you. Because the wolves were out. They were waiting. And I promise you, they were waiting. They were all lurking about. But when they saw all of y'all coming and going constant, they backed away. Now, the gym canopies at the Bryant Park blew off, I guess to the south side of the bridge. We had the workout gym there, no canopies. Also, the 2nd Street Park at 2nd and H, please, we need no smoking signs. They like to drink and smoke there. I stopped using the park because of that. I don't want to get in arguments with people because they want to sit there and smoke cigarettes, but I can't work out and smoke, and I'm a smoker. The inlet work done under the bridge is beautiful. Thank you. There also is a car dealership at 5th and North Dixie Highway next to the Sunoco. This afternoon, 12:30, a group of guys come. There's a bunch of junk cars that are parked there and have been since y'all shut it down. And it's just been an eyesore. I don't understand why it hasn't been developed and purchased by the city, because we have a parking problem. The law firm, the barbershop there, all are using the lawns to park the cars on in the field, which has nothing but weeds. I can't even grow grass. My grass is dead, both sides weeds. They put trees up here to cover the, you know, instead of grass. And when their grass died, they threw trees up. Now over here, I got nothing but weeds. So I'm in the middle and I have no grass. So I got to every year buy new grass to keep grass in my house when these people aren't doing anything for grass to beautify our property. And this one here that put up the trees is a landscaper. But the dealership, it has to go. Those cars there have to go. Y'all know this is a magnet with all the heroin and all the activities. The Little Owl bar there and back of it is constant heroin activity, and they're parking in the 2-story property in the back where it has no trespassing signs that are being ignored. As residents, we have had our rights taken away. No loitering and no trespassing are not honored in the city, and it should be. That would eliminate a whole lot of problems. That's where y'all need to start at right there. But 5th and North Dixie, right there at that Sunoco, no loitering should be a definite demand at that establishment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Madam Mayor.
State your name and address, please.
Richard Garcia, 720 South Palm Way. Also Chair of the Finance Advisory Board, and I just want to address the Bond Oversight Committee. We've been working on a schedule for that for the last 6 months or so, and the initial thoughts that we had would be October 2nd, that we would have the inauguration of that. We worked on some plans on how to do that. I had a discussion with the city attorney about that, and would we go forth with that plan, or as I often said to all of you, or do we need to get a rabbi to inaugurate that? And Rabbi Torcivia has taken on that role, and the city attorney will create the agenda for the inauguration of the Bond Oversight Committee as far as he's relayed to me. And when that agenda is complete, we will then call a meeting. It will be hopefully on the same, it should be on the same night as the Finance Advisory Board meeting. We'll have a short meeting then, and then we will have the first meeting of it and elect officers, have introductions, etc. For that. So I hope that clears up any confusion. I know I've spoken with a number of people around town who have asked me questions about that, and those that have been members, appointed as members of the Bond Oversight Committee, have reached out to me directly. Those who haven't, I can't help address that to them if they haven't asked me the question. So any other questions regarding that, I'd refer you to the city attorney's office, who might have some more clear information on how that may work. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks, moving on, approval of the minutes, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved, ooh, that was.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
was a tough, but
Sorry.
I give that one to Commissioner Omari, made the motion.
Mayor's better looking.
And it was Vice Mayor seconded it. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Consent agenda,
So moved.
moved by Commissioner Amoroso, second.
That wasn't.
Nope.
I'm sorry,
Hardy.
Commissioner Hardy.
Second it.
She has a hearing deflect.
Who's gonna second?
Seconded by Commissioner Amoroso. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed. Commissioner Robinson, I don't hear you.
He's overwhelmed.
Competition is too.
He's overwhelmed.
I know. Put your light on. All right. Motion passed unanimously. Did you get that?
Yes, Madam
Commissioner
Mayor.
Robinson made his motion. Did you get that?
I did not
I
get
didn't hear it,
that.
but
I
make
didn't
sure that
hear
you got that
that.
in there.
I
Okay.
have, the motion was made by Commissioner Hardy and seconded by Commissioner Amoroso.
There you go. And it was unanimous. Thank
And
you.
it was unanimous.
We're moving on to what was my moment? New business. The internal auditor selection, item A. City Attorney?
In accordance with your direction at the last meeting, I discussed this matter with each of you individually. I then spoke with the internal auditor candidate, Mr. Brown. We negotiated a little bit, came to an agreement, which is in front of you. And if you're happy with the agreement, I request a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Seconded.
Seconded. Any other commissioner comments? Let's see. Commissioner Amoroso?
For the record, can you reiterate what the pay scale is? And
Sure.
does that include all the bells and whistles as far as insurance and everything?
Yes, he's pretty much has a standard, city package with insurance. Other than his salary is $105,000, which is the same salary that the previous internal auditor started at. He gets the car allowance of $450 a month, and those are the key issues, financial issues in there. But otherwise, he is a regular employee of the city. He obviously reports directly to the commission. And I'm assuming that once he gets on board, he'll probably schedule individual meetings with each of you to get an idea of, the direction you want to go. And I'm also assuming he'll come to a commission meeting fairly soon.
Follow up?
And I had talked to HR and the old internal auditor, Ken Oates, about when we hired somebody new, would he consider coming back for a small period of time just to initiate the new person, to go through files? I didn't want him to start from scratch. There's already been some work done that he might want to continue. And I know that I've talked to HR this week and they're going to move forward with that.
Excellent.
So I feel more comfortable. He's not starting from scratch. He's starting with, some direction from the last from the last internal auditor.
Just final my question is,
Please.
Is that for free, or are we going to have some kind of a financial arrangement with it?
We would have to have some kind of financial arrangement, so that has to be worked out.
Okay. Are you thinking maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks? What time frame are we
Oh,
looking
no, I
to?
was thinking weeks, just an initiation,
Oh,
go
okay.
through files, because I know that the old internal auditor, when he.
The former.
The former. Yeah, I'm sure
The
you
old,
will.
the former.
When you hit a certain
He
age, you
looks
don't
a
want to
little
hear
older.
that.
He's got a full beard now and everything.
His price just went up.
Yeah, exactly. The former internal auditor, he has a lot of working files, things like that, and it takes a lot of time from staff to meet with the internal auditor. So I just wanted, I'm thinking a week.
Okay, so
just
did
to
you want me to reach out to
initiate.
Mr. Oaks and have a short little agreement that's just for a short period of time for him to do that?
I'm comfortable with that, like other commissioners. Commissioner Robinson, I almost didn't see your light because you were hovering over it with your hand. Now, what happens when
I
I'm
hate to
turning
be in
one
the
way?
spotlight.
Hold on 1 second. I just need to clear something up. What if I was looking this way, recognizing Commissioner Robinson, who was the only one with his light on at the time. Now I turn around and I see those two lights. How do I know which one of those lights is first?
I'm bigger than he is.
It's still not perfect. I need a light to tell me which one hit first, so I know.
I'm the rookie.
Commissioner Robinson, go for it. Please have the floor.
Mr. Oaks was very generous in volunteering his time. So I think we should ask him to volunteer first before we negotiate anything.
Too late, we had this meeting, he's watching right now.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if it was volunteering.
he was, I thought, very generous with his offers to communicate after his employment. But anyhow, I would think that it wouldn't take more than a week or 40 hours or whatever. And in terms of, I would like some sort of direction, or I would like the attorney to give direction to the commission on how we're going to communicate in terms of the sunshine, in terms of individual direction, in terms of communicating legally. And I don't know whether we have a workshop on it or whether you can briefly do it now. I don't care, but I feel that I want instruction on working with the others and working with the internal auditor, because he's our
Same rules of sunshine apply in regards to this, which means that we all meet individually with them. And the way it went last time around was he basically asked our ideas, opinions, thoughts, whatever, on certain functions of the city, any questions we had. I'm sure it will be any questions we have outstanding with the previous internal auditor that weren't met. I think there's a learning curve for them to get up to speed with looking at the actual reports from our former internal auditor and seeing where those investigations went, where they are. I think that city attorney can work with you on getting a one-on-one so you get a feel for it. But usually what they did last time around is he brought back kind of a consensus of the items that he found similar with, I guess, concerns, areas, issues, et cetera. Glenn, would you say that's accurate?
I think so, and then once he gets consent, I think it comes to the public meeting and kind of gives you his work plan. This is the work plan that.
And presents it all in public, and we say yay, nay, we prioritize this, that, the other thing, and it's all done here in the commission chambers.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, his is gone. Commissioner Hardy.
Thank you. I just want to say that I think it's really important that we put together a process for dealing with the internal auditor that is perhaps more formal than not. I think what we do here is very well defined, and we all understand it very well. I think if the process by which we hired the internal auditor augurs anything as to our relationship going forward with that individual, I think that we really need to sit down and figure something out that's very structured. And if that means that we have a quarterly public meeting with the internal auditor to discuss findings or what have you, then but I think it just needs to be very well defined and very structured.
Get in on that action.
Sure.
We actually asked for that the last time around, but it was funny, it didn't materialize the way that we had asked. We had asked for a quarterly report on it, and those reports were provided to us and they were made public, but they weren't necessarily presented here. And I guess he found enough synergy between our individual meetings, but I agree with Commissioner Hardy in that we really need to have on the agenda a minimum of a quarterly, and if there's anything serious pending or whatever, obviously more often, but at least quarterly, to have those items come on and have us make sure that we're discussing it practically, because I think we really need that discipline. And Ken did a great job. He was used to operating on his own, and he was very competent, can do that. But I think that there was a lack of the public being engaged in all these things, and I think that they deserve to see all that stuff that they found out through public records and stuff, but not necessarily through an open dialogue. Commissioner Hardy.
Right, and that from the outside looking in over the last little bit, that was certainly my perception, that he was furnishing the commission with documents, but there wasn't this robust public discussion as to the things that the previous internal auditor found. I think it might be even worthwhile. I understand that we only come to meetings once a week here. I think it might be worthwhile for us to have perhaps a special meeting with the internal auditor, and it just be an us and him type of a thing. I think that's really worthwhile. Oversight is worth spending time on, and carving out space for. So I think we should really think about this in a creative way going forward.
I'm good with that. Whatever you all agree on, I'm good with.
It'll expedite his.
Commissioner Robinson, I didn't see your light. I'm sorry. Go ahead. This is too fun. Sorry. Thank you, Peggy Fisher. Sorry, Commissioner Robinson.
I'm just looking forward to him getting started and getting into our concerns.
Okay, great. All right, then, do we have any, we don't need any vote on anything?
A motion?
I would think
So
we should
moved.
in a vote.
Motion by Commissioner Hardy, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Is that right? I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, did you have a
The
comment?
internal auditor made a Vice Mayor Maxwell made a motion, was seconded by Hardy. I just need a vote. I'm
Did you still
sorry.
have a comment that you wanted to make, Vice Mayor? Because your light went out.
Yeah, it's a bad battery.
Is that what it is?
Thanks, Peggy.
I have to take all these things into consideration now, because you know what? It's my fault.
She did that.
It's always my fault. Go ahead, Vice Mayor. Did you
I have nothing.
Okay, there we go. We got a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to the easement for the town of Palm Beach.
So moved.
Moved by by Vice Mayor,
Seconded.
seconded by Commissioner Hardy. Commissioner Amoroso.
Just for the record, this came before us a few months ago. I had it pulled for conversation. I'm still not quite happy that, you know, Palm Beach wants our right of way and we're doing things on our beach. It's going to be farther on the south end. It's going to be beautifully landscaped. I asked also, could we landscape the big silver box and the blue big pipe there now, because you drive over the beach and that, to me, that crap jumps out at you. So while we're landscaping that piece, can we landscape everything else? So I feel a little bit more comfortable, but I still am, I'll vote for it tonight, but I'm still, you know, again, you know, why are we putting something for Palm Beach on our property? But we'll move forward.
Good. Any other comments? City Attorney, did you have something?
No.
Oh, you just look like you were gonna speak up. Anyone, any public comment cards?
No, Madam Mayor.
Seeing there are none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Do we have any updates from the electric utility under new business D1?
We do.
Come on up here, gentlemen. Amendments to the Siemens Energy Services Agreement and the City of Lake Worth job number 44OP-151287. Why you need to know that, I don't know, but I've had fun
Second.
reading it.
I'm told those numbers are important.
I've got a motion on the floor from the Vice Mayor, seconded by Commissioner Amoroso, just for the record.
Okay, I guess we're discussing the new business or the change orders?
Did I have,
No,
That's
just,
the,
it's all the same.
it's the, yes.
Okay, so these are the change orders which basically document changes that were discussed with Siemens and they undertook throughout the course of the project. The net effect of these is a little over $400 or so credit back to the city. So it's basically a wash, but it is important to document in the project execution that there were changes to specific sections of the contract. So there's no significant net impact to the city from this, but it does document it well.
Okay, Commissioner Amoroso?
Just real quick, so we have a few lights here at City Hall and a few lights down at the annex.
Yes.
That were not included.
That's
I
correct.
understand that they will not be included. We'll close this out and then we're gonna circle back around and address those.
Correct. Those lights are on order. My understanding is they're expected next week or two, and they should be installed shortly thereafter.
Great, thank you.
Also, while I have your attention, just because we don't always have a presentation from you at a meeting, we had several months ago addressed some of the areas on the south side of the community that had mentioned that they didn't have lighting or the amount of lighting that they needed, and you guys were gonna check out to see that there were, I know there were some areas where you weren't able to have lighting, and you were gonna look at what could be possible. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Commissioner Amoroso? Maybe you can articulate better than I.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, well, Siemens went out, we addressed it, and we pretty much have, with the exception that there's a couple on J Street that we need to circle back around because we didn't get to do. And from what I understood, we still have the capability of doing some lighting if we fall short, but we've addressed all the different neighbors, all the different neighborhoods that wanted them. Where some of them were unique, where they wanted them in the alleys more so than on the streets, with the exception of a couple on South J Street that I know of. We're pretty much good.
I was talking, I think, more in reference to like 12th Avenue South, 12th South, 13th South, 8th Street, G Street, that area. Weren't there some patches of area that they didn't think they could put lights, but we were gonna look into by Domino Park and by some of those areas where we weren't sure, because there was not a lot of lighting there.
Well, I know we went, if I may, I know we went out, because I went out with the Siemens
Okay.
at night, and we addressed that. There may be some, we'll circle back around, there may be some that we missed,
I
but
think specifically in that area, there were a problem with some trees that were in the way of the lights that were installed.
Okay.
And we were looking at stepping back and looking how to put maybe even some solar lights on the pavilion itself.
I think that's
Which,
what,
which
okay.
was not necessarily something that was hardwired in because of the wiring situation, but we'll circle back around on that, Mayor.
Just wanted to, I just wanted, because we're talking about Siemens,
Yep.
so I just wanted to make
So
sure we were.
while they're on that, this week we kicked off a review of all of lighting. So we're doing a survey of all street lights in the town. So we've actually moved all of our apprentices from the day shift to the night shift to do a full sweep of the city for all street lights that are out. That'll create a work list for us so we can then get after these lights, hopefully before the time changes and gets dark earlier.
Commissioner Emerson?
and just to reiterate, you and I had that conversation, so that's happening, they're going out and looking. I'm getting a lot of calls right now about lights being out, so
Yep.
how soon do you think
They
that's-
started last night.
Okay.
And they're working every night until the survey is done of the entire city.
But they're surveying now, how quickly will they actually turn around and start getting those lights back on?
We'll start work on it right away. So as those lists come in, we'll get those to the daytime crews that go out there and make those repairs to those lights. And the troubleshooters at night will try to do some repairs as well.
Just,
And just to reiterate, well, we do have some additional lighting in case we find that, we need to add some to poles and things like that. And we have some additional poles and things? Okay, thank you.
in reference to lighting too, just as a point of reference, how did this new lighting fare in the storm?
We're gonna find that out during the survey. So some of the lights, came down because trees came down and high winds. So we have to take a look at each one where it's failed and say, did the head fail? That it was, a weatherproofing issue, or was it the pole that failed, or was it the wire that failed in going to the pole?
Because before they were covered by globes at certain sections and
Right.
whatnot, now they're exposed and
Yep.
open, so I was just wondering how these lights
Yeah,
did.
we'll know more after the survey when the data comes
Be
in. But we,
interested to find that out,
yeah,
thank you.
so we wanted to get everybody that we could on the street at night when you can best tell whether they're working or not, and just do a full sweep of the city at one time.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing right now.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor in a second. I'm sorry, Walt, did you have something additional?
Madam Mayor, Commissioners.
Okay, step up to the mic.
Please step.
Thank you.
Director of Electric. Just to elaborate, the sweep is gonna be done this week, and we'll be hitting the ground next week repairing. So
Okay.
that's how quick the turnaround is gonna be.
Excellent, thank you. We've got a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much.
Be up here before
City Attorney, do you have a report?
No report, other than tomorrow is the training at the college for any ethics that, if you haven't taken your 4 hours mandatory. So I'm gonna lead off speaker at 9, so bright and early, be ready.
Okay, and city manager, did you have anything, city manager?
No, Madam Mayor.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you for coming.
Peggy.
Hey, Peggy.
Thank you, Peggy.